and I'm joined by Kevin Maher, the Times' chief film critic.
Film criticism is utterly pointless.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Hugh. Ha 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 ha.
Don't call me Hugh, Kev. And Larushka Ivan-Zadeh, chief film critic at Metro.
Where are you? Drifting or swallowed by a cosmic nothingness?
Larushka, how are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you, Hugo.
Excellent. We're just reviewing the one film today. It is the film of the summer. It is the Odyssey. The cliff notes, for anyone who doesn't know what the Odyssey is that Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, is trying to get back to his home after fighting in the Trojan War, but it's a little tricky. If that sounds a bit too highbrow, but also you're quite old, it's also basically the plot of Ulysses 31 from the 1980s. Let's hear a bit of the trailer.
Fire. Death.
I remember a wife, a son, home.
So, Kevin, no spoilers. Don't tell us if he gets home. But are the 172 odd minutes of this worth it?
Yes, very much so. It's what can I say? You know, it's an incredibly po-faced. I'll say this make it sound negative. It's incredibly, pompous, po-faced, presumptuous movie that, in the words of Christopher Nolan, is trying to explore what it is to be human. And these things are just so not what we expect. In a cinematic world when the Super Mario Galaxy movie is the #1 hit of the year, and that. I know Toy Story 5, people are going to that. And it's like something that you don't expect. Basically, it's as you'd expect someone who's adapting the Odyssey with the kind of humorlessness that Christopher Nolan has of what they would deliver. But it's really affecting, and I found it kind of overwhelming. It's in IMAX, and it's. It's a dark movie about a guy trying to get home, and what's the point of getting home? And when you get home, is there home there anyway? And do we have personal responsibility? In the decisions that we make, what's the point of having personal responsibility when we're in an ever-expanding cosmos? There's all these deep questions you might discuss with your friends when you're stoned, and yet it's in a supposed blockbuster movie that's nearly 3 hours long and is eye-gougingly spectacular, full of career high performances, Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland. It's just, I suppose what I'm trying to get across is it's not what you'd expect from a blockbuster. It's not Disclosure Day Part 2. I left the film feeling slightly sort of I get discombobulated, or just like, oh my God, I feel like I've had a very serious experience. And Christopher Nolan is famously serious, and that's what he's saying. Sit down. Here's 3 hours, and don't expect a laugh riot. This is a serious examination of what it is to be human in 2026, yet told through a 3,000-year-old lens.
Larushka, it sounds like that if sort of swords and sandals, glory in the desert is your thing, this isn't quite your film.
No, that is not correct, I would say, because there are it isn't like any other blockbuster, but it is very like a Christopher Nolan blockbuster, and he's very good at doing amazing, spectacular set pieces, and there are amazing, spectacular set pieces galore in this. It starts off with the obviously Trojan horse. That's what anyone thinks of when they think of this story, and it's sort of marooned. It looks like the Statue of Liberty in Planet of the Apes. It opens on this thing, and it looks like it's June. It looks like it's set on this other planet, and then suddenly all these sort of soldiers come in, and then we switch to another scene which is like at sea with the huge boats. There's like crashing waves, then there are monsters. One of the set pieces is amazing, is with the Cyclops, which becomes like this big Guillermo del Toro film. There are punch-ups, there are fights. There's a lot of action in this, as well as pondering on the nature of the existential void. Yeah, I mean, any Nolan film, everyone comes out and goes, that was colossal, that was monumental, that was an amazing technical achievement. And I feel like that is a given with a Nolan film. I always feel that his films, though, have something slightly missing in the heart of them. And that is addressed in this film, because you realise that all his films really are about men with something missing in their soul, and that they have to try and find something about it. And this one is actually about that, and it just makes a lot more sense. And it's a lot easier to follow than something like Tenet, which everybody I know who saw Tenet just went, what was that about? I really don't get that. What? Ooh, what? So, yeah, this is a lot easier to follow than that one.
You know, I really struggled with Tenet because I felt I did understand it, and then when nobody else did, I thought, well, I must have just been really stupid and not even understood the thing that people said that I wasn't supposed to understand. I'm not sure. Kevin, in your Saturday column, you talk about how Nolan himself has said there's an odd gap in history, the fact that there hasn't been a modern movie adaptation of Homer's Odyssey. You laugh this off. Tell us why.
Because I'm such a film spod. Yes, because you know, the Odyssey has worked its way through lots of films, have been, you know, quote unquote adapted from it. Most notably, SpongeBob SquarePants the movie.
Most notably.
Obviously, you know, Our Brother, Where Art Thou? You know, it has featured, you know, throughout. And Nolan himself calls it. You know, he said it's the ur-text, and it's in everything he's done. And maybe that Larushka's point is right, that, you know, all his films. And I know it's a bit of a marketing thing. People are saying everything he's done until now has been building to this, and that's music to Universal's ears when they say that, and Nolan has been implying that. But it does feel like, oh yeah, his films finally have a point. And there is, you know, there's lovely, you know, time jumping stuff. You know, his trademark is jumping around time, back and forth, and there's you know, he dovetails beautifully with Homer and the way the Odyssey is told. And there's an incredible scene in it where Matt Damon's character is talking to Calypso the nymph, and he's flashing back to a conversation he had in the underworld with Agamemnon, and then Agamemnon's flashing back to just before he left for Troy, and in that flashback he flashes back to to killing his daughter Iphigenia. So you know, the people who are worried that there isn't enough Tenet-like stuff in this, and like, oh, is Nolan not doing his time jumping stuff? There's plenty of that, and you know, I challenge you to draw a straight line in terms of narrative chronology.
Larushka, I'll obviously go and see it, but do I have to go and see it in an IMAX?
You absolutely have to see this film in IMAX. Yeah, I took my husband Tom, who normally is incredibly jiggly after about 20 minutes in any movie. Don't try and take him to the theatre. He was totally absorbed for nearly 3 hours. I mean, I know they can't put that on the poster, but honestly, this is like the highest praise any film could ever have. And it is just so huge. Famously, all of it is shot on IMAX, and that gives a really different film on IMAX film. And so it just feels like this very different cinematic experience. And I'm sure it'd be great, but it'd probably be less absorbing for your 3 hours that you are sitting there in IMAX. And, you know, for some people, this will be the one film that they see this year. So it's going to be the one film you see this year. And I really think this is the one film that you should see this year if you're going to see anything. Then you might as well buy yourself a proper IMAX ticket and, you know, get the full-on experience.
Kevin, agreed about the IMAX thing?
Yeah, it's unlike anything else you'll see. And God, you know, I've been watching films professionally for like 30 years, and maybe part of that discombobulating feeling I had leaving it was just this sense that you are, you know, I think the IMAX, you know, motto is why watch a film when you can be inside a film, or where's that effect? And you do feel that Christopher Nolan has inserted you into this milieu, and that's why it's kind of gets under your skin. You're completely, and we haven't seen human beings in this way in IMAX having conversations, because they've never been able to do close-ups in IMAX because it's too noisy. And finally, he's covered the sound of the camera film working, and now you can actually see people in close-up emoting, and some of the best screen actors in the business emoting in close-up at 300 feet wide. And it's really affecting.
I can't wait. Thank you very much indeed, both of you. That is Kevin and Larushka there.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is out in cinemas this weekend, and the epic has already secured a pretty rare thing. Kevin Maher's normally pretty gloomy. He's given a 5-star review in the Times.
What would he do if he came back here and find all these suitors in his house?
You're pining for a daddy you didn't even know, like some sniveling bastard.
Who's looking after your wife and son?
Do you see?
My dad is coming home.
Bringing vengeance. Bringing it all.
Oh, how faithful a visualisation. Does that matter? Professor Edith Hall is a scholar of classics, specialising in ancient Greek literature, cultural history at Durham University. She'll know about all this. Edith, morning to you.
Good morning.
Before we get to how faithful it is, which may or may not matter, is it any good?
It's a fantastic action movie. If you like nearly 3 hours of non-stop noise, violence and extraordinary special effects, you will love it.
But if you want a thoughtful representation of Homer's story, will you get that as well?
Do you know what? I don't care about that. That people always ask me that question. I'm looking for a really great artwork. I only give a 5 if something is both highly entertaining and pleasurable and kind of edifying and uplifting and has a moral clout. So I'm sticking on a 4 because it is absolutely top grade entertainment. Everybody will love it. It's a fantastic movie you can take your kids to it safely. And it's good that people know these basic stories, but it did lack moral coherence to me. A new reason why Odysseus has been away for so long is put in. I'm not worried that it's not authentic. I'm worried that it's lifted, from Oppenheimer. It's like he's still in the Oppenheimer groove.
What's the new reason?
So Odysseus is so upset when he sees what his wooden horse has done at Troy. Right, it destroyed Troy. That he feels too guilty to go home and face Penelope. Okay, and we're not told this. It's like he's still stuck in the. And I'm afraid there is absolutely no way that anybody in the ancient Mediterranean who'd spent 10 years doing siege and conquest on a town like Trump called Manchester, the town of Troy, would have a single second of guilt. So. It just doesn't wash. And then at the end, we get his other sources, Tennyson's famous poem, Ulysses. So Penelope and Odysseus sort of go off to follow the paths of the western stars until they die. Whereas, in fact, the whole point about Tennyson's Ulysses is he does it as a man on his own. I think the great question the Odyssey asks psychologically is why can some men not ever settle? Why are some men Rolling Stones?
And actually, is it even possible to go home? Can anyone truly ever go home?
Exactly. There's a psychological question of great profundity, and Nolan has missed a trick by turning Odysseus into Oppenheimer and the ending into Tennyson. And I don't think he'd mind me saying that. It shows I'm a very attentive watcher.
Well, you were. You lasted 172 minutes. I see 172 minutes and my heart sinks. Does it lag at all, or actually is it all bangs and whistles for 172 minutes?
No, it needed cutting by 45, definitely. And I can tell him exactly where to do it. I mean, the Cyclops, he's so keen on his CGI, don't even know the word, Cyclops, right, that we get it just goes on and on and on with this very enormous giant eating people. And there are some of the scenes at sea and
so it's fast.
Some of the, it just needs paring down. We need to get him back to Ithaca, where the really interesting drama with humans and the Suitors goes on. And he's got some great actors in the Suitors, I have to say.
Yeah. Edith, people want to go and read this. I quite liked Emily Wilson's. She did a verse translation of the Odyssey. What's a good one to go to? Not everyone wants to read a long verse thing, I've got to be honest with you. So is there a novelised version?
Well, the old E.V. Ryu Penguin, which was the bestseller for about 30 years after the Second World War, until Lady Chatterley's Love got its licence, is a novelistic read. It's fast prose. But if you want the effect of Homer's poetry, then the new one by Dan Mendelsohn is in very long, rolling lines of poetry. If you're keen on hearing the effect of the Greek, Dan Mendelsohn. If you want a fast read on the beach, E.V. Ryu, R-I-E-U.
There we go. Some news people can use. Edith, lovely to speak to you. Thank you for joining us.
And you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's Professor Edith Hall telling you about the Odyssey, which you're probably not going to see, Kate.
No.
Too long.
Too long. And really, I don't want 170 odd minutes of just violence and
bearded men.
That's not.
And there's good actors in it. I have a thing that films should be under 2 hours. I really think that if it's not going to be under 2 hours, they need a special license from someone. I grew up in the era of the 91-minute film.
Perfect.
You know,
don't need more than that.
Hour and a half. We're all happy. We all go off and do other things.